it's just meant to whip emotions and rally support.
Okay.
Them, yeah.
Let me bring in something else that was brought on by Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. She mentioned something about another handshake. This is what she said.
Sisi tunakuomba kwa heshima. Miezi 4 ambayo imebaki. Wewe tafadhali fanya handshake na William Samoei Ruto. Ndio hawa watu wasikuwa upande mmoja na wewe upande mwingine ukienda nyumbani mwezi wa 8. Kwa sababu hautafuti kiti tena. Tunakuomba umsalimie ndio uende nyumbani na heshima yako. Sisi tunakuomba Mheshimiwa Rais, hao watu ambao wamekuzingira na kuomba wabadilishe, kwa sababu hao ndio wanakupoteza njia. Kukuambia uwekelee William Samoei Ruto maneno ati ndio achukiwe na watu wa Mount Kenya, hao watu hawabadiliki.
Dangi, start us off on this one. Is it time for another handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and DP William Ruto?
Oh, well, okay, it would not be it will not be an impossibility. Everything is possible anyway in life,
yeah.
And it would be a good thing for the president if he chose, yeah, and opted to have a handshake with William Samoei Ruto. Yeah. Probably what would have to do is to get into finer definition of what that handshake would entail, what it would be for. As you know, when the first handshake happened, you know, or rather not really the first, but when the most recent handshake, there have been other handshakes which have happened before, and we can get into that conversation definitely. Actually, because as I've said before, Trevor, indeed, the coming together of President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto in the year 2012 and 2013, when we went to Afraha Stadium ourselves to agree on the consummation of the partnership between URP and TNA. That was a handshake in itself, and it happened for real. I remember the two of them clasping their fists in the air and making a declaration then in Afraha Stadium that never again shall blood be ever spilled in this country in contestation for a political office. That was that was the first handshake, in my view. And that's what saw this country get all the benefits the country has gotten from the leadership of Jubilee for the first term, coming into the second time, and all that has then ensued since that time. Yeah. So I would not be saying that a handshake is impossible between the two of them. What I would be actually saying is to relieve and revive, reinvent the spirit of that first handshake and be true to that handshake, as it were. You know, I mean, see it to its end, because it did happen in the first place. It's not going to be a new one. If, with all due respect, the president would find it in his good sense to leave that legacy of following to what we agreed upon in the year 2013 and took that handshake in Afraha Stadium, then he would just be finalizing his term by confirming, indeed, that as Jubilee then, that we had intended to run this country and have this country move forward, that we had, you know, conformity and confluence of thought and intent, and in the first place, that partnership was meant on you know, pedestaled on goodwill. Yeah. And so I would encourage my president and my counterman, and a man that we have respected a lot, you know, that will be the best thing for him to do, because let me put it for the record here. The people of Mount Kenya region have no problem with their president. They respect him a lot, and they have respected him all the way. The issues that they have with him right now are with some of the choices he seems to have made that do not necessarily agree with what their mindset was and how they feel about some of the questions of looking promisable, of being trustworthy, of being, you know, people who are seen to keep their word. Okay. And Trevor, let me clear this, because it's in the air. that the people of Mount Kenya region have had to carry a tag on their heads that they do not deserve.
Yeah.
A tag that says that the people of Mount Kenya cannot and have not in their history ever made a promise and kept it. And this has been one of the issues that we've been dealing with.
Yeah.
You'll find that every time during political partnerships, people think that we are so selfish, that we just say things and do them only to the best of our interests, and we can sacrifice anyone and anything to get what we want. And the people feel at this particular time that it is time to shed off that false tag, that we are Kenyans who believe that you can live within the community of Kenya and make promises and keep those promises.
Okay.
And that's just the issue that's there.
All right.
And I believe that's why you find that the people of the mountain right now,
yeah,
according to statistics, according to reality, according to what's happening, is that the majority of the people at this time are in the party of UDA.
Okay.
They are behind William Samoei Ruto.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me bring in Mutua on this. Is it time for, and I know you find it strange when your running mate speaks like that, because just not too long ago his views were very different. But now, is it time for another handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the DP William Ruto?
You know, it's quite interesting. When you're on social media, you see a lot of memes. And there's one very funny meme I saw of a cartoon of Ruto saying, nataka kuambia Uhuru Kenyatta. And then somebody in the audience said, kwani una namba yake?
Yeah.
You know, why do you have to say it in public?
Yeah.
And I can see memes coming out of this saying, nataka, people let them have handshake. Kwani hamjai salimiana tena in your lives, because wanasalimiana all the time. The issue here is to whose benefit. And it's quite interesting, because it's the UDA side who are calling for the handshake. Maybe they feel they have been fixed to a corner, and they're trying to rescue any or get any kind of bonga points. And they're the ones who are pushing. And you've had my very good friend, Governor Waiguru, talk about, it's about your legacy, come, shake hands. But what is the significance of the handshake? You've had my running mate here talk about it's a good thing, people love Uhuru Kenyatta, but let's it's good for him to shake. It is to their benefit if they see Uhuru Kenyatta coming to shake hands in a form of what we call a handshake with William Ruto. But handshakes are not handshake. It's not just extending your hand out. A handshake is an agreement. What Raila Odinga did with Uhuru Kenyatta was based on hours and days of sitting down and talking to each other, of coming to an agreement about where this country needs to go. For me, what I see is that if there's going to be a handshake, the handshake that should be there should be coordinated by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and it should be between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. A handshake that says we are going to play clean politics. We are going to hold elections. Whoever loses will go home, whoever wins will take over this country, and we'll work together. Or a handshake that says it doesn't matter who wins or loses, we are all going to be in government together, sharing the government and working together as one country called Kenya. That's a handshake we want. But not a symbolic handshake that now people will go wild saying, oh, he has returned the thing. Now, my friend here has brought up something about Mount Kenya being seen not to be people who keep their words. And, it's a tag out. I don't remember, I have links in Mount Kenya. I don't remember Mount Kenya giving a promise to William Ruto. Uhuru Kenyatta did. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta meant well when he did that. And as I said another time, there must be a reason for Uhuru Kenyatta, who I've known for a long time as my friend, for him to renege and say, I thought this man was different. But now that I've seen his true colors, I cannot continue supporting him the way I supported him. Uhuru Kenyatta did not, out of ill will, chuki, ati ameshiba, ati amemkataa Ruto. There must be a reason why Uhuru Kenyatta changed his mind. The same way, there was a reason why Daniel Arap Moi, who basically brought up Ruto politically, rejected him at the end, actually refusing for Ruto to come and see him while he was in deathbed, saying, sitaki kuona huyo mtu. There must be a reason. There also must be a reason why Raila Odinga, after bringing him and part of the Pentagon, and I remember during the post-coalition, the coalition agreement, post-election violence, after that Nusumkati agreement, Ruto was a key person there, speaking for Raila to come and reject him that much, and he rejected him mapema during Kibaki's days. There must be a reason why people who know William Ruto well, who stand with him, eventually once they get to know him, say we don't want him. So I don't think we should hold the people of Mount Kenya responsible for the actions of President Uhuru Kenyatta when he says he's changed his mind after he recognized what kind of person Ruto is.
Okay.
So they are not obligated. And if there is any, if people of Mount Kenya feel there's any promise that needs to be kept, maybe it's a promise that was made at independence, when Jaramogi Oginga Odinga said he will not be prime minister until Kenyatta comes out of prison, and they are going to work together for the rest of this country. And then Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was kicked out. Maybe that's where we need to revisit that, and that's where maybe Raila Odinga comes in. If it's a matter of correcting errors, let's correct the historical errors from that time of independence, so that as a country we can now move on.
Okay.
And lastly, this country is not about one tribe or another tribe. You know, it's not about just Mount Kenya. You know, we've got the Kamba community, we've got the Maasai community, we've got the Luo community, we've got the Meru community, Kalenjin community, other communities. It is not about one community and another community, just one or two communities in this country. No, the younger generation that I represent here don't care about tribalism. We care about having more money in our pockets. We care about being able to move forward. So let's not get caught up in this drama. We should be asking ourselves, why did Uhuru Kenyatta, after promising Ruto another 10 years, why did he change his mind?
Okay. Professor Do, is it time for a handshake like Waiguru is suggesting?
Thank you, Trevor. I think the February 2018 handshake was born out of a history of, you remember after post-election, after elections in 2017, we experienced violence. We experienced, there was a need for Kenya to reinvent and to move forward. And it was out of that need to reinvent that His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga had a handshake. And that handshake has had practical results. We have seen changes in policy frameworks for this country. We have seen development in the housing sector. We have seen cooperation in Parliament and the enactment of various laws that have taken this country to the next step. I think that any objective person would see the handshake in terms of an outcome. I'm surprised this morning, Trevor, that Mr. Wamatangi, Senator Wamatangi, has taken so long to realize that the mountain is UDA. Perhaps he needs to take more time to realize that perhaps it may appear UDA, but it is also transforming and changing to Azimio. I think that's another point.
Okay.
But what Governor Waiguru has spoken to on the question of the handshake between His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and the Deputy President William Ruto is about peace after the election. I think the handshake that she's referring to is a different form of handshake. It is perhaps a handshake that would bring us to the era of the reign of Azimio after Raila Odinga is elected as president and after William Ruto then concedes and runs as leader of opposition. I think a handshake basically to say that we as UDA are willing to concede that Your Excellency has made the right choice to support Raila Odinga for the presidency.
Okay.
I think it's not a bad idea. That handshake is not a bad idea, but it would not be the handshake. It would not be similar to the handshake between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay. Mutuma?
Like my colleagues have said, a handshake is a pact between two warring parties. There is nothing that prevents the president and his deputy to shake their hands. If he has done that with Raila, a man who saw himself as president in a reasonable manner, can find it in his heart to do the same with his deputy. Because I do not believe, we may not know exactly what happened between the president and his deputy, but we know that the situation between the president and Raila was worse than it is between the president and the deputy. And if then there was goodwill to shake hands between a leader of opposition who had gone to that extent. I think it's also possible for him to extend that olive branch to his deputy, especially for the sake of the nation when we are heading to a general election. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a quick break. When you come back now, we talk about the matters BBI. The verdict is expected today at 9 a.m. There's something also, Waiguru mentioned that there are some people around the president who are lying to him. We'll find out from Matangi, because he's been on both sides, whether they were lying to the president at some point because of his popularity, and also on the BBI issue. This is coming up in just a bit. We'd like to hear from you as well at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak.